Kunja Vihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Vihari. 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 Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. 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 Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Vihari.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Varinam Namaskrityam
Namaskrityam
Narom Cheva Narottamam
Narom Chaiva Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Tato Jamudirayat
Tato Jamudirayat
Naspirzavatyasu
Nashtayasu
Nityam Bharata Sevya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevya
Bhavatu Tamasloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki.
Bhakti Bhavati Naishtaki.
So welcome everyone to this second session of the introductory course of Srimad Bhagavatam. Last week we discussed the aims or the purposes of studying the Bhagavatam. Today and next session will be about the 10 topics that Today we will discuss together the first major topics of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And next week, probably Hari Prabhu will be here, and if he's willing, he may discuss with you the last 5 topics, main topics of the Bhagavatam. So the Srimad Bhagavatam is it's also called the Bhagavad Purana, and it's a Purana, and it's a characteristic of a major Purana to discuss 10 topics. And there are also lesser Puranas, we will discuss that later, which cover only 5 topics. But the Bhagavad Purana is a major Purana, it's a Mahapurana, and these 10 topics, all these topics are meant to lead us to the 10th topic. And the 10th topic of the Bhagavatam is called the Bhagavat Asraya, the son and bonum, and that's Krishna. It's called the Bhagavad Purana because it's about Bhagavan. So is Sukadev Goswami, he mentioned these 10 topics and discusses them with Maharaj Parikshit. And in the second canto, chapter 10, verse 1, there he mentioned these 10 topics. If someone has an iPad or on their iPhone the Bhagavatam, you can get it on your screen, and this verse is chapter 2, canto 2, chapter 10, the last chapter of the second canto, verse 1. So you can repeat the Sanskrit word for word for us. Shri Sukha Uvacha Atra Sarga Visargascha Stanam Posnam Uttaya Manvantare Sanukata Nirodha Muktir Asraya Shri Sukha Uvacha Atra Sarga Visargascha Stanam Posnam Uttaya Manvantare Sanukata Nirodha Muktir Asraya Shri Sukha Uvacha Atra Sarga Visargascha Stanam Posnam Uttaya Manvantare Sanukata Nirodha Muktir Asraya. The word for word translation. Shri Sukha Uvacha Shri Sukadev Goswami said Atra in the Srimad Bhagavatam Sarga statement of the creation of the universe Visarga,
Visarga,
statement of subcreation.
statement of subcreation.
Cha,
Cha,
also. Sthanam,
Sthanam,
the planetary systems.
planetary systems.
Posanam,
Poshanam,
protection.
protection.
Uttaya,
Udaya,
the creative impetus.
creative impetus.
Manvantar,
Manvantar,
changes of manus.
changes of manus.
Isa anukata,
Isha Anukata,
the signs of God.
signs of God.
Nirodha,
Nirodha,
going back home, back to Godhead.
going back home, back to Godhead.
Mukti,
Mukti,
liberation.
liberation.
Asraya,
Aishwarya,
the summon bonum.
Samam,
The translation. Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, in the Srimad Bhagavatam there are 10 divisions of statements regarding the following: the creation of the universe, sub-creation, planetary systems, protection by the Lord, the creative impetus, the change of manus, the signs of God, returning home, back to Godhead, liberation, and the sun and moon. Om Ajnana Timandasya Chancha Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Chaitanyamanovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swarugadanyam Ati Swapadantikam Vandiyam Shiv Shiyuda Padkamam Shiv Vaishnavamsa Shirupam Sarjatam Sakanaragnatam Tam Tam Sajivam Sadvektam Savadutam Vaidana Saitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sakanadiktam Shri Shakam Vitam Sham Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dino Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopra Kanta Gana Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurave Radhe Vrindavana Shri Krishna Vana Sutadevi Planamaya Haripriya Pampakalpatu Shanti Vasindu Yevasha Padana Bhavanayo Vaishnavyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Krishna Deva Krishna Krishna Bhutale Shimati Bhakti Jagshanti Nami. Namo Krishna Deva Krishna Bhutale Shimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nami. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Vacharini. Nirvishesha Samyavadi Paskachana. So we have there on the a slide of the 10 topics. This beautiful painting has been made by Narayani Mataji. That she taught the Bhagavatam at the VLC in Vrindavan. She wrote also a beautiful book. It's called A Glimpse on the Bhagavatam with so many. She made like such a lotus for each canto with all the topics and the pastimes in each canto. It's very impressive. But there you see the 10 topics, and in the middle is the Asraya, Krishna. Because what's the purpose of these topics? These topics helps us to connect again with Krishna. It starts with Sarga Visarga, with the creation and the secondary creation, to let us understand how Krishna is connected with everything in this world. And we have to connect our consciousness again with Krishna. So, these 10 topics, these 10 topics, if you go to the Srimad Bhagavatam, you will see that many cantos, they have received a major title. Each canto has a title, and this title mostly refers to one of these 10 topics. It does not mean that these 10 topics, that this topic is only discussed in that canto. It's spread all over the Bhagavatam, always these 10 topics, but specifically in that canto, certain aspects of that topic are emphasized. But in reality, the Bhagavatam deals with one single topic, and that's Krishna. Krishna is beyond material perception. But to make this absolute truth, to make it available to us, that these 9 other topics are explained. Because here in these 9 other topics, they are in the range of our perception and helps us to connect with Krishna. That therefore the Bhagavatam is structured in such a way that it, canto after canto, it connects us with Krishna, and we are learning gradually the signs of pure devotional service, the signs of surrender, it's, if one follows it systematically, one should follow it in order of the cantos and the topics discussed. When one comes at the end of the 9th canto, which deals also with mukti, then one's consciousness must be liberated from all material contamination. That's the power of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Why is the Srimad Bhagavatam so powerful? We heard last week, because it's Krishna himself. Everyone who comes in contact with Krishna, he comes in contact with the Srimad Bhagavatam. Everyone who comes in contact with the Srimad Bhagavatam, I mean, comes in contact with Krishna and becomes purified from all contamination. Because everyone who comes in contact with Krishna becomes purified. His holy name is non-different. When we chant holy name, we can become purified. So now the first topic is Sarga, or creation. There we have this is, we see Mahavishnu lying there on the ocean, on the Karana ocean. How is Mahavishnu related to Krishna? In the Bhagavatam it explains Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam, that Etisham Skalabam Shai Krishna. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam means Krishna is the fountainhead of all incarnations. Yes, in the Brahma Samhita it's mentioned that the Lord has innumerable expansions. So in the first expansion is Balaram. We have Krishna Balaram, the first is Balaram. Expansion means it's non-different from the origin. Srila Prabhupada gives the example as many candles give light, the quality of light, it's all the same. But with one candle another is lightened. So the same way, there is no difference between Krishna and Balaram, besides that Krishna is black and Balaram is white. But then from Balaram comes a first Chaturvyuha, Vasudeva, Sankarsam, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, which are all these expansions, Vishnu forms, who are carrying the symbols of the four-armed Narayan form, the lotus, the conch, the disc, and the gada. But they, according to their position, they are carrying the symbols in different hands, in different sequence. That's all explained in the Bhagavatam. And each of these expansions, of these innumerable expansions, has a planet in the spectral world, a silver frozen planet. But then from this first set of Pradyumna, Sankirtan, Vasudeva, and Aniruddha, comes a second Chaturvyuha it comes from Sankarsam. And then you have a second Chaturvyuha, Vasudeva, Sankarsam, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. And then from this Sankarsam comes Mahavishnu, and that's the Mahavishnu who we see there. He's lying on the coastal ocean, the Karana ocean, which is a spiritual ocean. And then Mahavishnu, he creates by exhaling and cleansing without seeing. So in the first stage, Mahavishnu creates the gross 5 elements. The gross 5 elements and the senses, the sense objects, the mind, the intelligence, and these are all the ingredients for the creation, because that's called Sarga, because later comes Visarga, that's the creation of Brahma. It's going to use all these ingredients and assemble them in bodies and living entities. He creates the living entities with all these elements. And it's like they make a car, to make an automobile first they make all the components separately and then they are assembled. It's a bit like that. Sukadev Goswami, he explains in the Bhagavatam the elementary creation of 16 items of matter. First the 5 elements: fire, water, land, air, sky, sound, form, taste, smell, touch, the eyes, the ears, the nose, the tongue, skin, mind. So that's really what Sarga is about. And I will give you just a very brief synopsis of Sarga, the meaning of Sarga, because later when we go to the Bhagavatam, we will describe each item, each aspect of this Sarga in detail. But because this creation, you have terms like Prakriti, Pradhan, a Mahatattva. This we see sometimes in the Bhagavatam, they are explained in different ways also. It's not that Pradhan as one specific definition. Sometimes there are different interpretations. But in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, I'm the source of Brahman. And from Brahman, everything comes from Brahman. So the beginning is the spiritual energy, Brahman, which is the effulgence of Krishna's body from the Ashraya. So this Brahman is everywhere. But then Mahavishnu, with he puts in this Brahman the three modes of material nature, unmanifested. And when he puts them in Brahman, they are in balance. That, it's called pradhan or balanced state of nature. That. But then Vishnu will create by his glance. Very interesting, just by glancing. That's stated as such in the Bhagavatam. So when he glances, and by his glance he injects different ingredients, one after another. Just injects kala, time, that, and he injects the living entities, because the living entities who has whose subtle body is still surcharged with material desires, who have these material desires, during a total annihilation, when there is no manifest creation, they are staying in the body of Vishnu. So they are in his body, and we will see later that's another item, uti, desire. They desire to enjoy, and therefore he injects them by his glance in this unmanifested state of nature. So he adds these ingredients, kala, time, and then injects the living entities, but then by the desires of the living entities, the whole thing, the balance of these three modes of nature, passion, ignorance, passion and goodness, is disturbed, and it becomes agitated. And when it becomes agitated, pradhan becomes mahatattva. And then, by that agitation, a first element, material element, is created, and that's the most subtle material element, and that's ahankara, false ego, because to enjoy this material world, one must accept a different identity than one's original identity. Because originally we are not the enjoyers, Krishna is the enjoyer. So that idea of enjoyment must come. That's false ego, ahankar. But then this ahankar starts to combine with the three modes, and it combines with goodness, and by that combination of false ego and goodness, an element mind is created. And together with that, the demigods who are in charge of mind are also created. That mind in goodness. And then the false ego is combining with intelligence. It's combining with passion and produces intelligence by that combination. Because in Bhagavad Gita, that's very interesting, is that it's explained that intelligence, buddhi, is finer than manas. So one may argue, why is that intelligence is coming from passion? Because this kind of intelligence one needs to enjoy in the world must be intelligence in passion. Most people in this world are using their intelligence to make plans, so many plans. That's one explanation here. But then ahankara, it combines with tamas, ignorance. And then the gross elements are manifested. So the gross elements, everything we see in this world, are products of ignorance. Combination from ahankar with this ignorance. And from that combination, the first thing what happens is the element ether is created. And ether together with sound. So in many scriptures, even Christian scriptures in the Bible, it said in the beginning there was sound. Here also, sound is the beginning of the creation. Because where there is sound, there is ether, because sound is transported through the ether. And then after the creation of this sound, then the next step is air. Air is created from it's an evolution from ether, when it further develops by contact with the amount of ignorance, and then from that comes air. And air means touch. That this sense of touch, and together also the demigods in charge of this air are created. Everywhere where there is air is also ether. When there is air, there must be ether. No way that, because one comes from another. And then after that comes fire. Fire. And fire has a form. That means where there is fire, there is air. There cannot be fire without air, and there is ether. And then when there is air and fire, then from that comes water. Water, that taste is going together. And then from water, earth is created. Earth, smell. So in earth, you have all the previous elements. The earth has form, has a taste, and so on. So it's quite a logical construction. And then that's the first creation, the sarga. And then we come to the visarga, that's there. Because from all these elements, then Vishnu, he creates these elements by its glance, and gradually they take the shape of universes made of these elements. And then Vishnu enters this universe, and in the form of Garbhotakashayi Vishnu. And when he's inside the universe, he starts sweating. And he's sweating so much, his sweat forms the Garbhotakashaya ocean. And that fills each universal egg with practically half. And on that ocean, there Garbhotakashayi Vishnu is lying, and he's lying on Sheshanar, and Lakshmi is with him massaging his feet. But then from his abdomen, a lotus flower grows, and then Lord Brahma is born. And Lord Brahma, he will take care of the secondary creation. So after all this interaction of these ingredients created by Mahavishnu, so Brahma he starts to create everything inside the universe, like the planets, the living entities, and he awards the living entities bodies according to their karma in their previous lives. So in this 10th chapter of the 2nd canto, we have Sukadeva Goswami. He gives like a definition of Visarga. He says, the elementary creation of 16 items of matter, namely the 5 elements, fire, water, land, air and sky, sound, form, taste, smell, touch, and the eyes, the ears, the nose, the tongue, the skin and mind, is known as Sarga, that we just discussed. Whereas the subsequent resultant interaction of the modes of material nature is called Visarga. So one very important point to understand is what's the cause of this creation, what made it possible. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains, as mentioned in the previous verse, Shuddhena, the creation is made possible from the Supreme Personality of Godhead directly by manifestation of his particle energies. Without such a Vedic reference, the creation appears to be a product of material nature. The conclusion comes from a poor fund of knowledge. From Vedic reference, it is concluded that the origin of all energies is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's something we have always to keep in mind, that everything happens by the grace of the Supreme Lord, is the cause of all causes of the creation. So this secondary creation that goes on by the mercy of the Lord. But why it happens? It is because of the desires of the living entity. It's not that Krishna wants to create a material world. No, he's serving the desires of the living entities. Therefore, he engages in the act of creation. Because these desires, Krishna explains that to Uddhav in the 12th canto, in the chapter 7, that's the first chapter of the Uddhav Gita called. And there he explains in verse 12 of that chapter why the creation takes place. And he uses an analogy. He says, just as a seed produces additional seeds, activities that promote material desires in the performer produce moving and non-moving life forms. So that's Brahma's Visarga. And now the third topic, that's Lord Varadev. Here, the topic here is Sthana, maintenance of the planetary system. That Sukadeva Goswami calls this also vritti. So this the creation is already after Lord Brahma created all living entities, then the creation has to be maintained. That we see that, of course, even before Lord Brahma starts with his Visarga, to make it possible, Krishna, in his as Garbhotakashaya Vishnu, enters then every atom, and he is called Ksildakashaya Vishnu, the Paramatma in every atom. So you have these three Purusa avatars, are they called, Mahavishnu, Garbhotakashaya Vishnu, and Ksildakashaya Vishnu, who are performing the lila of creation. So it's also called sthana. It's related also the word sthiti is used. This word sthiti, it's explained also in the next verse here in the second canto, 2.10.4. There, sthiti is explained as indicating the glory and superiority of the Lord, which is shown by his maintaining all created beings in respective situations under his laws. That this mentioned in the Vedic literature also, that Nitya Nityananam Shetananam, Krishna, the sun and bone, the Shraya, he is the greatest living entity, eternal living entity, and is the greatest among many eternals. And he is the greatest who is maintaining all the other eternals. Because we are all eternal souls. So Sukadeva Goswami, he explains vritti, that vritti means the process of sustenance by which the moving beings live upon the non-moving. Interesting. So we are living from grains, from vegetables, and so on. Non-moving living entities. Even those who eat meat, the meat comes from animals who are vegetarian, or somewhere in the chain they are vegetarian. So it's always the non-moving, the moving are living on the expense of the non-moving. Now the fourth topic here is poshan, or protection by the Lord. We see here this picture of Draupadi that goes try to strip her naked, but Krishna is supplying unlimited sari. They could not do so. So this is a very important topic in the Bhagavatam, how the Lord is protecting his devotees. Poshan refers to the personal protection really given by the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord explains, my devotee never perishes. Declare it boldly, he says to Arjuna. That this poshan is also understood as the Lord's mercy. That in Sutta Goswami, in each age, the infallible, the Lord the infallible Lord appears in this world among animals, human beings, and demigods, and by his activities in this incarnation, he protects the universe and kills the enemies of Vedic culture. This is called Raksha, or protection. So this protection of the Lord is a very important topic. If we take shelter of the Lord, then we become under his protection. So I think some more points on this. No, that's Ocean protection. Now, the next topic discussed in the Bhagavatam is Putti. I think this is Aditya and Kashyapa Muni. And anyway, that's an interesting pastime in the Srimad Bhagavatam. It will lead to the pastime of Hiranyakasipu and Hiranyaksha. And also Talat. That's interesting. But Putti, it means creative impetus or karma. That in the material world, a person normally does not act, or he has a motivation. That's very interesting, because a devotee becomes materially desireless. I remember the first time when I met devotees was quite an experience, because they were very kind with me. They were serving me prasadam. If someone serves you, then you feel, oh, this person loves me. They were very kind with me, but then, of course, I was not a devotee. And I was thinking, now, they are very kind with me, but what do they want from me? So that's not really, that's what we think in this material world. What does this person want from me? And what can I benefit from it? What can I get it for me, for me? But the devotees had not this mood. They had this service mood. And that's very special. Then you feel, oh, this person, you get really in contact with the person, not with his false ego. You come to the point of having with a person a real relationship, and not with the false ego. And that's so loving that you feel that these persons are not ordinary. They are a person with false ego, or less false ego even. It's very pleasant to work with that person. If he does not get what he wants, he's not disturbed. He knows this is Krishna's arrangement. I accept it. He remains peaceful and tolerant. But in this material world, this Putti makes everything going on. The conditioned soul acts under the influence of the three modes of material nature. These are impelled by their karma and give rise to various desires for further material activities. And so from one thing comes another, these material desires. Mostly it starts with trying to find a solution for some material inconvenience. Remember always this story about the sadhu. And the sadhu, he was taking a bath in the Ganges, in the holy river. And he was a very poor Brahmin, had practically nothing. was a wandering mendicant. But then when he came back from taking his morning bath, then he saw that a rat had eaten his copy. I was thinking of my coping, that's the only thing I have, and still, so and he started to make plans to protect his coping. He said, I need a cat. So he begged someone from a cat, and then the cat was there. But then the cat, what did the cat say? Meow, meow. The cat wanted milk. So then another problem arose, milk. He begged again and got a cow, but then he got this cow. Who is going to milk this cow? Then thought, yes, I need a wife. And he made an arrangement with other Brahmins for me to get a wife. And then the wife said, yes, good, but what now? I want children, I want a house. So he had to take a job and a second job. And at the end he became so frustrated with the whole thing. And he just gave everything up and threw his scalping away. But that's entanglement in the material world. You start with one thing and another, and it goes on like that, and you become hopelessly entangled in the whole thing, and becomes a big maze. And then the only thing you have in your mind is anxieties about so many things. And then you try to find solutions for these anxieties, but the remedy is worse than the solution, yeah. And it becomes hopeless. So this is this impetus, or it's karma also, because it's our previous karma. We have created this situation that. So Srimad Bhagavatam said this uti is the impetus for activity. It's a desire for fruitive work. That also in the Uddhav Gita, so Srimad Goswami mentions, out of ignorance, the living being performs material activities and thereby becomes, in one sense, the cause of the creation, maintenance, and destruction of the universe. Some authorities call the living being the personality underlying the material creation, while others say he is the unmanifest self. And that. So this is a comment of Jiva Goswami. The hetu, the cause here is nimitta, or efficient cause. Asya refers to this universe, the existence of which is due to the jivas who act in ignorance. Some call that cause the anusayi, underlying personality, highlighting the principle of consciousness, while others call him the avyakrita, unmanifest, focusing attention on the jivas, the upadis. And that, okay, all these upadis, these unwanted desires, is therefore, Narada Muni said, sarva upadi vinirmuktam tat paret nirmanam vishkesha risikena. Sevanam bhakti uchate. It's a definition of devotional service also. It means giving up all these upadis, all these false egos, the false identifications, and act again as an eternal servant of Krishna. That because under the influence of these desires, which arise from ignorance, we are creating this idea of I and mine, which is illusory, which is an illusion. And we take that illusion as fact. It means teaching illusion as fact. Very interesting. That and everyone in this material world does that. In all schools, topics are raised that which are concerned with fulfilling material desires. Which are all temporary. They are only concerned with the temporary, and by that, all this endeavor of teaching brings one more and more in ignorance, because one becomes more and more inflicted by the material nature and more entangled. We see in this country sometimes for many people they have to follow more and more and more rules and regulations. You become a teacher in a school and by you get more and more responsibility, more and more tasks. And life becomes very difficult. So many entanglements. That it's not only in the teaching, in the business world. You have to give your lively stays practically to your job, to the business. It's all focused on these temporary things. But Krishna consciousness means we become sober. We start to understand reality. We are not this body. That we are the consciousness within the body. Eternal living entities. And this material world is a prison house. And we are sent to this prison house by this Uti. And we remain in it by this Uti. So that we have to get rid of. We have to spiritualize our desires and connect them with Krishna. It's a whole topic which will be developed further in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So, thank you very much. If you have any question, we have 3 minutes left. Yes.
Going back to Stana, you had a reference from the Bhagavad Gita about the food chain.
So, this reference from the Bhagavad Gita referring to Stana, that it's 12:7:13. Yes, there's Stana. In that section of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna discusses very short creation. In the Sarga, the Visharga, Bhuti, that's all discussed again. Because it's interesting, because he tells this to Uddhav, because it's pure devotee. Because Krishna is going to leave and these earthly pastimes. But there are these sages from Badarikashram who wanted the association of Krishna. And therefore, Krishna gives the message to Uddhav. He tells Uddhav, you have to take sannyas and go to the Himalayas and meet these sages in Badarikashram and give them the message. So we see that he gives this message, but it's the same message as the Bhagavatam, but concise. That therefore we find these references very concise. Very good. All right. It's 8:30. Thank you very much for your attention. So next week probably Lilasuka Prabhu will speak on the last 5 topics that looking forward to see you then. Well, I will not be here. I will be going to Belgium and to Germany for 10 days, but I'll be back on the 9th of June, the day of the Lord Gathriata. Srimad Bhagavatam ki
Jai.